What's going on, guys? It's CryptoDave here at Top Tier Signals, and welcome back to our weekly market recap. In this video, I want to talk a little bit about Bitcoin, but I mainly want to focus on the state of altcoins as they have been pumping pretty heavily over the past few days. So is it finally time to start buying altcoins, or do we need to be waiting for further confirmations in order to be confident that altcoins are the right play right now? Guys, we do these market updates every single week on Monday, so you can subscribe to the channel, tick the little bell, you'll get notified every single time that we post, and you won't miss an update. But without any further ado, let's go ahead and jump into the charts. So we're going to start here on the daily time frame for Bitcoin, just to kind of reinforce our thesis overall for the market. I do think that Bitcoin is entering the end of its mid-cycle correction, but there's a few more confirmations that we need to see before we can be completely confident. So as we know, we're going to be tracking this bull flag here. We have our regression channel high and our regression channel low. Ultimately, this has been our market structure for about the past 6 months. Now, what we really want to see for Bitcoin here is that we can set in a higher high on the daily time frame. Ideally, we would come up and at least test this regression channel high. This would be my last line in the sand for resistance for the bears to continue to have control of the market. So I think if Bitcoin is able to get above this regression channel high, if we get a true breakout above this trading range, I think that altcoins are going to be in a very nice spot, because we need to remember that it's generally not until Bitcoin is in true price discovery within a market cycle that altcoins can really make those parabolic returns that everyone seems to be chasing. In the immediate term, we just need to be watching the $63.4 thousand level. This is a pretty key area of confluence. We had some resistance, some support, some resistance. It would be great to break above this level confidently and stick in that higher swing high. And then whenever we do have a nice retest of these moving averages, it would be ideal that these moving averages act as support as opposed to resistance, and we can stick in a higher low and continue that newfound uptrend. We do have a nice cross here, the 21 crossing back above the 50. We've had this plenty of times over the last few months. It's never really meant much until Bitcoin is able to sustain above the cloud. It's not only important that we have that moving average crossover and that we have Bitcoin trading above these important moving averages, we want to see that any sort of retest of these moving averages will be a great place for support. We want to see buyers coming in at these levels and pushing the price higher. So I think the Bitcoin looks really good here. I think it's just a matter of getting some additional follow through from the bulls. I think that if we do break out of this regression channel, it will be an excellent opportunity for altcoins to truly outpace Bitcoin and turn the tide at this point in the cycle. With consideration of altcoins' performance against Bitcoin, we can look at this altcoin season index. This is going to tell you the percentage of the altcoin market that has outpaced Bitcoin over the last 90 days. And we can see that we're sitting at a comfortable 39%. We had a couple of weeks here below 25%, where accumulating altcoins tends to be a rather high probability setup, but we're still trading well within this range. We generally look for above 75% of the altcoin market to outperform Bitcoin before we want to start offloading those swing trade positions. So I think if you were able to accumulate altcoins here over the last month or so, you're sitting in a really nice spot. I don't think there's any reason to chase any of these pumps to the upside. I think it's a matter of waiting for those pullbacks, trying to buy these discount opportunities, and hopefully we can set in some nice higher lows and continue this newfound uptrend. We're also going to be tracking a similar metric, except we are going to be thinking about the previous 365 days. So the altcoin year index is going to show us the percentage of altcoins that have outperformed Bitcoin over the past year. We're sitting again at a comfortable 41%. We've come out of this accumulation territory for the broader Bitcoin market cycle. I don't think there's any reason to be selling your altcoins or trying to take profits on positions until we get around the 75% mark. That is where it becomes very dangerous to hold altcoins compared to cash, or at the very least, holding Bitcoin. And then we can also look to the actual Bitcoin dominance chart. We've shared this a couple times on the channel. We're going to keep paying attention to it, but essentially we are looking for a breakdown in the strong 1.5 to 2 year long uptrend for Bitcoin dominance. We want to see the ratio break below our 21 and 50 week EMAs, and we would like to see the 21 cross below the 50, and then the cloud serve as resistance. I think those 3 steps, to have a break below, a cross of the 21 below the 50, and then a retest as resistance, I think this would be the ultimate confirmation that Bitcoin is done stealing the show and altcoins are ready to have their moment. So I think we're pretty close to that. We're sitting at a pretty interesting level of resistance here, if you want to consider it that way, around 57-58% of the market. This was a target for a long time on the channel, so we're going to be watching this pretty closely here on the channel. I do think that this is a good time to be accumulating your altcoins, but once again, you want to wait for those pullback opportunities as opposed to chasing the pump. So now let's turn the attention to Total 3. This is going to take the market cap of the cryptocurrency market and exclude Bitcoin and Ethereum, so it's a nice true gauge of the overall value of the altcoin market. And we've just done something rather interesting. We've crossed above our 21 and 50 daily EMA cloud. We've also crossed back above our 200-day EMA, which is a nice long-term show of strength. And we did this just about a month ago here in late August, and ultimately we did just get a fake out to the upside before trading back below. So the key here, once again, for total 3 is to see these moving averages act as support. We'd ideally like to see total 3 set in a higher high here above that 627 billion mark, and we would want to see any sort of pullback come back into the cloud, come back into that 200-day EMA pocket, and see the bulls come in and scoop up those discounts and drive price higher. Because if we are unable to sustain above these moving averages now that we have crossed above them, it's going to be another bad look for altcoins. So I do think that altcoins are in a good spot, but I'm in no rush to chase any of these pumps or be buying more altcoins right now. I want to see that confirmation of strength. So I'd like to see where this move takes us. Can we stick in a higher high? And I'd like to see how a pullback treats these moving averages. This would be a great spot to maybe dollar cost average, take a quick little long trade, maybe play that probability that the moving averages do hold. But I think that that will be our confirmation of strength, is to stick in that higher high and then see these moving averages hold as support on a pullback. So that's the primary thing I'm looking for when it comes to altcoins. Just to reinforce my thesis here, I think that altcoins are in a nice reaccumulation period. I think if you've been accumulating over the past month, you're probably pretty happy about that. And I think if you're just patient enough to allocate extra capital on dips as opposed to chasing these pumps or going long at resistance or betting that now is the time, I think you'll be in a much better standing. A great example of this is going to be FETUSD. This is one of the leaders in the AI crypto space. And again, this is not a shill, this is not financial advice. I'm simply using this chart as an example. This is a very strong performer in a narrative that has gotten a lot of attention, and we are slowly approaching a clear level of resistance, which was previously acting as support back in the spring. So this would not be the optimal time to go throwing out capital or trying to go long. We're coming up at this level of resistance. I would expect that it acts as resistance at least temporarily. But once again, you have the moving average cloud, you have the 200-day moving average. We've crossed above all of these moving averages. We've made a nice substantial move off of these range lows back in early August. So again, it's just a matter of seeing price stick in that swing high and then seeing how the pullback plays out. Are we going to come back into this cluster of moving averages and find support, or are we simply going to fail at the moving averages and continue back down to our range lows? It's going to be a very important sign of strength. I can't stress it enough. And guys, that's going to do it for this weekly update. I think altcoins are getting into a pretty juicy position, so let me know your picks down in the comments below. And again, guys, subscribe to the channel, tick the little bell, you won't miss a single update. And until the next video, I'll catch you guys in the Discord. Peace.